Hello, and welcome to Gin and Cake.
Well, welcome to, what is it? What are we calling this?
This is Gin and Cake.
Gin and Cake. All right. Maybe I've had too much of the first thing.
Oh, already?
Oh, yeah. I'm 1.5 in. It's been a day.
Ooh, it's been a day. Well, this is going to make the podcast so much more fun. I love that.
Well, it will for me anyway.
Well, I'm Sharon.
And I'm Joel.
And we are here to discuss the Great British Baking Show.
Darn tootin'.
So today we are going to start with Season 1, Episode 1 of what in America is known as the Great British Baking Show, and would be Season 5, Episode 1 of the Great British Bake Off in the United Kingdom.
Yep.
And before we get started, Joel, what are you drinking this evening?
Oh, my usual Bombay Sapphire with a little lemon lime seltzer and a little bit of honey and a twist of lime, because I really do like lime quite a lot.
Well, and I love the healthiness of that. That makes me feel like I'm really doing it wrong. But today I'm going to give a shout out to a gin that was just tasted in Oregon. My husband and I went on a little trip.
Oh, that's right.
And we dropped in quite by accident at the Pilot House Distillery in Astoria, Oregon, and tasted one of the finest gins I've ever had.
Oh, do tell.
It's called Bar Pilot. It is a classic London dry gin, which we loved so much that we shipped a bottle back. And they also had a lovely floral concoction called Painted Lady, another kind of gin, which we will be trying on a different show. But right now, straight up London dry with some tonic, a lot of lime, and it's delicious.
Well, that's a fine standard.
It is. Well done, Pilot House. Highly recommend. If you can get there, Pilot House is your distillery of choice in Astoria, Oregon.
All right. And how was your trip in general?
Well, wet. It was very wet.
So traditional Pacific Northwest weather then.
Very traditional autumnal weather. It was lovely. A beautiful area. Portland, great city. Loved it. The surrounding countryside was gorgeous. We both ended up sick, which is why I'm a little nasally today. But all in all, an excellent visit.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I love Portland. I've only been there once. It was not traditional weather when I was there. I was very lucky.
Oh, lucked out.
Yeah.
I'm going to say in terms of baked goods, we didn't experience a lot besides a donut, which was delicious.
And did you get that at Voodoo Donut by any chance?
We did not. We got it at Blue Star, which was recommended to me as better than Voodoo. I don't know if it's true. I didn't try the Voodoo Donut, but
I imagine there are some spirited discussion forums about that.
I feel confident that there are. I feel that Blue Star represents a more traditional approach to donuts as opposed to Voodoo, which is sort of, put Captain Crunch on everything.
That's true. It's true.
Just I'm basing that on what I read. Voodoo, you correct me if I'm wrong. But I was perfectly happy with our choice.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So there's my baking story from Oregon.
I'm sure it was all very, very farm to table kind of stuff.
It was a wonderful food town. I will highly recommend anyone who likes to eat and drink to go to Portland.
All right, here.
But more to the point of this podcast, let's talk about the eats of Britain.
Let's do it.
So here's what's going to happen, folks. We are going to live watch this show and comment as it goes along. So feel free to watch along with us. It is available to you on Amazon Prime, YouTube illegally, and various other locations for proper legal purchase, which of course Joel and I have done. So,
of course. And may I say, it's sort of tragic that we don't own the show, because we would be making some very different decisions about the show's continuation right now if we were in control.
I totally agree with that, but we're going to get to that later in the series.
Fair enough. I am ready for that conversation.
Love Productions is definitely in for some commentary from the two of us, I can tell you. However, for now, we can enjoy the show as it was shown on PBS. This started, I think, now 3 years ago as a show on PBS. They have shown 3 seasons now. I can't quite remember the timing, whether it's actually 3 years or sort of more 2 and they just shoved them in there. But in Britain, season 7 has just ended. In fact, will be the last season ever shown on BBC. I know. I've been trying to avoid any spoilers about it. I have no idea who won. I'm just trying to keep it fresh for when it finally wanders over to our shores.
Yeah, you can never rewatch an episode for the first
You
time.
really can't. So we are going to roll back and watch season 1, episode 1 of the Great British Baking Show for I don't know how many times.
Well, that's part of the beauty of the show. It's so rewatchable. So it's okay after you've seen it once because you can just rewind and watch it again and still get joy out of it.
Totally agree. It is a joyful show and it is always just a pleasure to put on, and even if it's in the background.
Yep.
I've used this show as background noise on other projects, and damn if it doesn't work. Oh, I've cursed.
Now we gotta flag it. Now we gotta flag the whole thing.
We've already talked about alcohol. We are flagged.
True, but that also leaves us open to just a stream of F-bombs.
Well, let's go for it. All right.
I feel so dirty doing that with the show. Okay, on your 3, I'll hit play.
Okay, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say ready, set, play.
All right.
And the very first scene that we have is the lovely Mel and Sue, the hosts of this show since its beginning, and my favorite people in the whole world.
They're arguably the best TV duo in the history of television. And I know that's hyperbolic, but I'm sticking with it.
No, I totally agree. And their very long partnership is so clear. They've worked together for, decades now. And just, their ability to play off each other and not just that, but to be so kind and empathetic to the contestants. It's just a hallmark of the show.
Yeah. They are the glue. They really are.
So we're being introduced to the contestants right now, all of whom they all look so normal.
They do. Yeah, these are regular people that I can relate to instantly just based on their appearance alone.
Yeah, they're just wearing street clothes. Everyone's got, normal shoes on. And there's a lot of Converse going on here. Just going to say.
No one's trying to be a rock star.
No one's super dressed up. No one's got a lot of makeup on. They just look like people that live down the street from you, which is wonderful.
And there's no attitude or ego. They're like, I'm going to crush this baking show. No, they're just there to have a good time.
No, I think we commented on in episode 0 is that when you watch an American reality show that, any kind of competition, it's so obvious who's set up to be the bad guy and the tart and the nice guy. But, these are clearly just people. They just showed up and they're here to bake.
And, as you pointed out in the intro, I think a lot of that has to do with the ultimate goal of all of this, which is to win, a pie dish?
You get a cake plate.
Yeah.
You get some flowers. That's nice.
That really sets the tone of what this show is meant to be.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, many of the contestants that have gotten to the final have gone on to publish books and be on television, but it doesn't seem like that's the goal of anybody. No one's here to, make their name as an announcer. Or a cooking expert. So, I think they just want to be here and do their best.
Yep. I know we were just shown the intro sequence, which I don't think has changed much or maybe not at all since the show started. Mm-hmm. And it's so beautifully shot. They use a lot of depth of field, like heavy depth of field throughout the show, and it's used so artfully, and it really accentuates the food and the visual detail of food, and it just makes everything look beautiful. I love the cinematography in this show.
No, I totally agree. I think they've done a job making it beautiful. I mean, they've picked a beautiful environment. The whole sensibility of the show is about, I think, a beauty, just really celebrating this incredibly humble act of cooking. Baking is not something that gets a lot of cachet in the world. And it's really elevated here. And I agree that the photography, I mean, the way that they cut the shots, gorgeous.
Yep. Yeah, baking is not drudgery here. Baking is art and, kind of love, too.
Yeah, it might be stressful, but they're there because they love it.
Yeah. I
think that's wonderful.
And I love how Mary says that even after all this time, she's still learning from the bakers.
Oh, I love that about her. I mean,
that there are two kinds of people in the world. The people who think they know everything and the people who realize they will never know everything.
I agree. And I think that's wonderful. Wonderful. And she, I believe, is quite well known in the UK as a teacher, a person who instructs people how to bake. And I think that's the right attitude for a teacher, that you have more to learn so that you can pass that on to other people.
Absolutely.
So we're making Swiss rolls here in our first cake challenge.
For those of us who are not baking aficionados, well, experts really like you are, and you've done a whole lot of professional baking. I have not. What is a Swiss roll? Even though I'm sure they explained it in the show, but I didn't hear that.
A Swiss roll in America would be a jelly roll or something that you might see at the holidays, a bûche de Noël.
Oh, sure.
Or,
okay.
So it's a sponge cake that has jam and some kind of typically cream filling. Which is then rolled up in a bûche de Noël. You would cover that in a frosting and make it look like a log.
Gotcha. That is something my mother used to make every Christmas.
Yeah. Oh.
Proper bûche de Noël with even little gnomes and trees and little figurines that she would put on top of it.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah.
I've done that once.
It's a lot of work.
It took me an entire day. I used a recipe from Martha Stewart, and bless her heart, everything she does is incredibly complicated.
Well, there's 179 steps just to make the buttercream.
It was so complicated. It was delicious. It was fantastic. But I will never make that thing again. So more power to these people who are making it in a few hours, because that would just blow my mind. I don't know how they're doing it.
And I just need to comment on something we've passed by. About a minute ago, Louis mentioned the fact that the honey he was using came from his own bees.
I love that. Well
he is
done,
a
Louis.
beekeeper amongst everything else that he does.
And you know, I love that he mentions that he keeps them down by the caravan. You know, he's got bees down by the trailer. Really.
That's great.
I don't know if you know this, but Louis, since this show, I'll go ahead and spoil it for everyone, has gone on to make his own bakery. And
really?
It's called The Hive.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he opened a bakery in his hometown, the name of which I can't recall right now. But yeah, he's doing it. He's living his dream, and I think that's fantastic. Good for you, Louis. Well done, you.
He's such a swell guy.
He is. He's one of my favorite contestants in this show.
And here's a swell lady, Claire. I love her. She reminds me in a very good way of an Aardman Animations character, like Wallace and Gromit and all that. She just has that look and sound about her, and I'm in love with her. I have to be.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Yes, Claire is. What energy she brings to everything she's doing. I mean, she just seems to be loving her life.
Oh yeah, total enthusiasm.
Yeah, and here's Richard,
Richard.
builder. A builder who is doing these tiny little pink flowers. And he says one of my favorite things in all the series of the shows, I'm very lucky to have 2 daughters.
Aw.
That's a delight. I think
really
that's just, what a lovely person. What a lovely thing to say.
Yeah, that seems like a family that really works. It's great to know that exists.
Yeah. Jordan. The ultimate geek. I mean, we know you, Jordan. You pretty much represent all of our friends. But
yeah.
There's a lot of superhero T-shirts going on there, and bless you, I love that.
Absolutely. There's no one in this season that is unlikable.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I have to think that that's probably there's some casting going on there. Because this is not a show where you want you want a bad boy or someone who's going to rabble rouse and cause drama. It's just not that vibe.
No. You want people who have lovely families and great, as far as backstories go, no one's tragic. I don't think a single person on this show has ever, done that thing that American reality shows like to do, is like, oh, I'm doing this for my dad who died.
Yeah,
and then they burst into tears, and you're supposed to feel so sad about it,
Yeah.
And then you hear that story 6 more times. But these are just people who, for whatever reason, bake. Some of them do have histories in the family, some of them don't, and they just like doing it.
Yeah, they keep calm and carry on.
They can, indeed. So there was Diana. We missed her a little while ago, and she's an older person, and I love the fact that they mentioned the WI, the Women's Institute, for her.
Can you explain to me what that is? Because I have no idea. That
is something that happened around the turn of the last century, about 1900. It started in Canada, and it went to the UK from there. But it was meant to save sort of home craft abilities as industrialization came on so strongly there in the early 1900s. People were moving off the farm and people were forgetting how to cook, how to sew, how to, do all these sort of home tasks. And the WI was put in place to save that, preserve those skills. And in fact, during both of the world wars, they were primary in creating community gardens and really helping to feed the nation and preserve food. And they have quite an interesting and a rather storied history. And I'm pleased to hear that it's still going. I hadn't heard much about it since, I don't know, the 60s or so. But yeah, there it is. Still
cool.
Moving along. Good for you, Diana.
I love the idea of a community garden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nice to see those popping up again.
I mean, we both live in St. Pete. I mean, do we have anything like that here?
There are a few. I know there's one in Azalea, but very few, because there's so little free land here.
Yeah.
Almost everything's built in our particular county. But let's go back to Portland. Community gardens everywhere. I mean, under bridges, at pretty much every free space you could find suddenly had a garden shoved in it. So bravo, Portland.
Yeah.
Because there's something really valuable in doing that, growing your own things.
Oh, I agree. That's really something I'd like to do.
Yeah. Well, and turning them into something.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of marvelous. Which takes us back to Louis and his bees, You can get those ingredients yourself, which is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here they are rolling their sponges, and it was touched on in the show, but you have to roll them hot.
And why is that?
Because what happens is the proteins stretch. If you let the cake cool, the protein seize up, and then when you try to roll it when it's cold, it cracks. It'll break in two.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you want to reshape those proteins in a more loose fashion as you're making your roll.
Now, here's Ian.
Oh, Ian. What a hottie.
Ian, who will later be described as a russet Gandalf.
And quite correctly, too. Yeah. He's totally screwing this up right now, bless his heart. But
yeah, he tried the whole scoring thing, and Martha was very skeptical of that.
Yeah. I mean,
oh, sorry, Martha. Mary Berry, I meant to say.
Oh, Mary, yeah. You wonder, did he try this before?
He makes it sound like he did, but I kind of think maybe no.
I'll say this, though. His sponge is very thin. It might have worked if his sponge had risen more. So it's possible that he did try it, but he got a better rise on that sponge in the past. But what a cool accent. I did some work in Belfast, and boy, he takes me right back. It's an amazing way of speaking. That hard.
Okay, now, for people like myself who were educated in the U.S. and therefore have no sense whatsoever of world geography, where is Belfast located?
Belfast is in Northern Ireland, which is in the northeast of the island of Ireland, and it is in fact part of the United Kingdom, and that is a long, long conversation. But Belfast is on the coast.
Okay.
And it's the capital of Northern Ireland. It's pretty much the primary city where the majority of the population lives, and it's very unique. It was a place that was torn with great strife for a long time and really sort of rebounded in the 90s. Having worked there, I will say, highly recommend Belfast. Go to Belfast. It's a cool city. There's a lot going on, but that's all I can say about it.
Okay, well, no, that's way more than I knew before. Honestly, until last year, I thought that Canada was America's largest national park. So, you know.
The 51st state.
Yeah.
Well, not quite. It's sort of west of Scotland. You can take a ferry from Scotland to Belfast.
And Scotland is what? A hamlet? All right, we don't need to get into that. Now, I have another question.
Yes.
A couple of minutes ago, we got back to Martha, the youngest contestant on the show, and a total ray of sunshine. And she said she is, in addition to doing all of this stuff, she's studying for her AS levels? Or what are they anything like the owls that Harry Potter had to take, or what are they?
They're kind of finishing tests, I think. And this is an area where I'm going to fall down. But when you finish,
make it up. I have no idea.
When you finish high school and you are moving on to trade school or college or whatever you're doing, you take what are called A levels or O levels.
Okay.
And my guess is because she has been studying cooking, that AS is sort of like an sciences finishing. I don't know what that is really, but it's their finishing tests that decide whether you're going to move on.
Okay.
Like you would need a bunch of good O levels if you wanted to go to Cambridge.
Gotcha.
Or you could just be rich, which is fine. You just buy your way in.
Oh, so it works that way in England too.
Oh, please. Their caste system's worse than ours.
Yeah. Well, Brexit, but let's not go there.
Well, you know what? We'll see what happens there. Which takes us right back to Scotland. And hey,
Oh,
you know
boy.
what would be cool? If it was an independent country. Sorry, let's get all political. But
That's way outside my depth anyway.
yeah, I have feelings about it, and I'm just going to keep them to this gin and tonic and me.
Fair enough. I would just resort to making a Star Trek reference before too long anyway. So.
Well, that's all right. I would get it. I'm not sure everybody else would. There's Norman, in fact. Speaking of
Norman.
Scotland, bless Norman's heart. He is just a fun, old, kind of not quite a codger.
No, he's like a salt of the earth dude.
Which is funny because he was, of course, a merchant marine. So
Oh, is that right? I missed that bit.
yeah, and Norman was an ex-merchant marine.
Oh, wow. I don't really know what a merchant marine is.
It's the people who do shipping and all those things that aren't Navy.
Okay, so there is no artillery involved?
Not anymore.
Okay.
In World War II, the merchant marine was, in fact, part of the military, and they would park Navy men and guns on those boats. In fact, the merchant marine had the highest rate of casualty of any of the forces in World War II, which many people don't know.
I sure didn't.
Well, there's a completely random non-baking fact for you.
All right.
Drawn up from many years of designing museum exhibits.
Yeah, see, this is why among the reasons I love our conversation, Sharon, because I learn something, a lot of new things every time we talk. And that's really not an exaggeration.
It's completely useless to you, but now you know. The merchant marine.
This is all edification. It is all useful.
That's good. While we watch people make cake.
Yes.
That's nice. Oh, lovely Martha.
And her hands were shaking earlier, the poor thing.
How could she be 17, though? I mean, when I was 17, I could barely make, chocolate chip cookies. And she's turning out this stuff that just looks completely pro.
I wonder if she has family members who are bakers and sort of introduced her to it early on, or if it's just totally self-motivated.
I don't know, but she is one of the people, in fact, who has authored a book. It was just published,
great.
I think, in June.
Oh, good for her.
I know. I think it's wonderful. It's called Twist, I believe. So look for Martha Collins on Amazon.
I hope it's successful.
Me too. And here, okay, so we haven't really talked about Paul and Mary here.
Yeah.
This is their first moment of judging, and, there's a little good cop, bad cop there.
Mm-hmm.
Mary's always the person who, no matter how horrible that bake is, has something nice to say.
Yeah, she's sort of the Paula Abdul to his Simon Cowell.
A little bit. I mean, but, admittedly, Paul is not Simon.
No, thank goodness.
I think he's very fair. I always got the feeling that even though he might be a little critical, generally speaking, I would say his judgments are correct.
I agree. And they both come across more as instructors rather than judges.
Yeah.
And their judging overall is very gentle. I mean, they don't make people feel bad. I always not that I've ever seen or remember.
No, I mean, people might cry, but that's just because they thought it was going to be good. And,
yeah.
Or they tried really hard and they knew it was bad. Oh, there's a face, though, from Paul. Yeah. Too much orange, Claire. No, I'm not going to lie. Orange and chocolate for me is just ugh.
Really? So you don't like the whole chocolate orange thing that
comes around? No, I want nothing to do with that.
Okay. See, those combinations work for me.
Really? Yeah. No, I'm orange and nuts. I'm happy with orange and mint, or chocolate and mint, I should say.
Are you a super taster? That's like the 20% of the population that has unusually intense taste receptors? And how do you feel about cilantro?
I hate cilantro.
There you go. You're a super taster.
Well, that's exciting. I feel like I should put that on a t-shirt.
I think you should.
Well, Well, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
And usually super tasters are not fond of fish in general.
I love fish. I'm fine with fish.
All right, maybe you're a medium
Medium
taster.
Slightly less than super.
Yeah, you're an excellent taster instead of a super taster.
Sometimes I feel mediocre taster is what you're trying to say here.
So you're not a meta-human, but we'll work on that.
Well, I can always hope that my mutant genes kick in here. I'm a little old, but it could happen.
You're not even close to a little old. You better not be. I'm like 5 minutes behind you.
Yeah. Well, that's 5 minutes I'll never get back, so. Here's lovely Kate.
She is terrific. Her method of dealing with stress is terrific. She does feel it, but she immediately recovers and keeps on going.
Yes, she's never really that down by anything. She's a very positive attitude, which I think is just wonderful. Oh, and here's where Richard reveals that he likes to do construction.
Well, it's a family business, right?
Yes, 4th generation, I think he said.
Ah, that's great. And I don't know why that's great. I think I like the idea of that kind of continuity.
I think it's great. I mean, there's so little in this world that, you can point to and be like, oh, that's the 4th generation of anything.
Yeah.
Oh, and they loved his Swiss roll. And look how happy he is. He's so genuine about it. Like, oh, someone praised me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and it was really quick, but Mary did a double thumbs up to Richard.
Well, as she should, because...
Yeah, I love that. She's like a very prim, proper lady, but she's not stodgy.
She reminds me of my grandmother, actually, who was a very, not flat, but a very calm person. She never really got excited about anything, but there was a sly little winkle in her that would come out at the weirdest times. I mean, she had a wicked sense of humor, and I think Mary has that too, which I love. Good for her. And here we get a whole overview of the tent, which is done up in lovely pastels. Yes.
I like the simplicity of the design.
I do too, and yet it's not girly, which I really like. I mean, there's, half the contestants are men, and none of them seem out of place there, Oh, yeah. I think there's a lightness to the show that is not feminine.
No, it's just very easy on the eyes.
Yeah, love it. Now we're coming up to the technical challenge.
All right. Now, how does the technical challenge differ from the other two? Is this the one that they do not get to practice ahead of time?
Exactly. They have never seen this recipe. Everyone gets the exact same ingredients and the exact same instructions.
And so this is literally the first time that they're seeing this recipe?
If they've never seen it before, yes.
Okay.
In this case, they said it was a classic from Mary Berry. It's a cherry cake, which I guess is popular in the UK. I've never heard of it. It's not something that's popular in America that I know of, unless it's from the 50s. And she's okay. So Mary just called it a great British classic. Good for her.
Okay.
I have no idea if any of them have ever made it before, but I know that the instructions that they receive on the technical challenge are thin at best. Mm-hmm. There's an assumption that you know how to do basics.
Okay.
Can you mix a cake together? Do you know how long to cook a bundt cake? Which is interesting because, there are so many things that you can do as a baker. Many of the things they cook here, I've never done. Why would I?
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think to some degree they delve into, in this case, no, but they delve into more obscure things to really push the boundaries of a person's just personal knowledge.
Yeah, I think as the show goes on, the technicals get harder and harder and harder. And a lot of the challenge in the technicals, it seems, is time management. Can you move this along fast enough to get it done in the time frame that we've given you? Because anyone can make a cake in 10 hours. But
sure.
Can you make it in 2? And, get those ingredients right. Know how long that thing needs to go in the oven for. Know how long it needs to cool in order to put an icing on it that won't immediately melt because the cake's too hot.
Yeah.
So it's really working backwards in the time frame that you have. How long do I have to actually put this together? But you have to know how long you're going to need at the end in order to know how much time you have at the beginning, if that makes sense. So that's stressful.
Yeah. Hey, just a comment on English teeth. I think the whole myth of English teeth is now in the past.
I agree.
Their teeth are equivalent to ours at best, or at they're fine. Look at now Jordan, or what's his, maybe not so
Jordan.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. But pretty much everyone else, that's a myth we can lay to rest, I think.
I think it is. Thank you, National Healthcare. Everyone gets dental.
Yeah.
But one also wonders if this doesn't have to do with mixing up the gene pool.
Oh.
If I can be so bold, I wonder if, because it's an island, a small population, a fairly homogenous population up until fairly recently. A lot of people joke about Americans and our good teeth, but most of us don't necessarily have a lot of dental work. We're just mutts.
It's a good point.
I wonder if we aren't seeing the intersection of quite a few different aspects as far as English, both culture and gene pool go. Mm-hmm. I'm just making that up, but I do wonder about it.
It's a fine theory.
Well, you and I have both studied a little bit of science. Not saying that's a good thing. That really makes things quite dangerous. Oh, cherry sank.
Yeah. I mean, the closest I got to any kind of tooth science was counting the rings in the teeth of bottlenose dolphins to estimate their age.
Did you do that?
I did, a little bit.
Oh, that's cool, man. I didn't know they had rings in their teeth.
They do. Yeah.
Do humans have rings in their teeth?
I don't know. We have different teeth than bottlenose dolphins. They have cone-shaped teeth.
They do. Well, and our teeth don't continue to grow. Are you saying that bottlenose dolphin teeth continue to grow through time?
I believe they do, or at least they add more layers over time.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, teeth are one of the ways that you can estimate their age.
That's neat. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Joel, we've both learned tonight, and I'm glad.
Hey, there you go.
Hope all our listeners feel edified by that.
I'll try to come up with a marine science fact for every episode. That's never going to happen, but I'll try.
Well, or throw in a Star Trek reference. It's fine. It's the same thing, practically the same thing.
Okay, I can do that. That's easy. And hey, Chet, we passed this, but there was a nice shot of all of Chetna's piercings. She is beautifully pierced.
I love Chetna. She has that beautiful gray hair. Is she 60? Is she 30? We don't know.
Couldn't tell.
But I love everything about her. She is energetic and positive, and I love her excitability. She's into what she's doing.
She's a delight. Yeah. She's really a delight.
Now, she has a YouTube channel.
Does she?
And mostly it's not about baking. It's about cooking Indian food, like a good paneer, or how to make a good tikka masala. Great. Love her show. Her instruction is wonderful. Highly recommend. See, now they're drizzling the icing, which means your cake better be cool, or you're going to have a big puddle of icing on the plate.
Oh. And now I guess they're not supposed to slather it on, right? It's supposed to be a little bit more restrained, kind of like what Richard's doing there.
They are kind of supposed to slather it on. The icing should... Okay, so there's Chetna's perfect icing. It should be thick enough to droop, but not thick enough to drop.
Okay. But as far as the coverage, I think in the example that Mary and Paul showed us, I don't remember it being as thickly laid on.
It was just the top with some droops on the side. You want it to elegantly drape over the cake. And of course, what they're all really worried about is, where are my cherries?
I love that high five. This is the first episode, and there's already so much good rapport among everyone. That's terrific.
Yeah, Diana and Louie. They're good. They're a fun pair. I wonder how much time they had to spend together before the show.
That's an interesting question.
When did they actually meet each other? I don't know.
I mean, you get the sense that they have some familiarity with each other, but you never know, because like we mentioned with Two Fat Ladies, Jennifer and Clarissa really didn't know each other before that first episode, and they just developed an instant rapport.
Right. And well, then they all stay, I think, at the same hotel. I mean, pretty much all these people travel to the show every weekend. They don't stay there. They go home during the week. They do their thing. They work. They take care of their families. They practice their bakes. And then they hop on the train and zip out to this beautiful country estate and spend the weekend. And then they go home.
All right.
So at least for the weekend, for 10 weekends, they're together all the time.
Well, that's a lot of time to make friends.
It is. It is.
So the distribution of the cherries is one of the big things that they're looking for.
Yeah, you want those cherries to float in the batter. And that's true for anything with fruit in it.
Okay. So is there an ideal size that you should be chopping them up to? Because someone chopped them I think Jordan chopped them so thin that they just sort of dissolved.
Yeah, they dissolved. You want them not too big just because their weight will hold them down. So you do want to chop them up. But the trick really is to coat them in flour.
Oh, really?
They want to be dry. And when you're making anything with fruit in it, people, coat that fruit in flour because the flour gives the batter something to grab onto and it will raise the fruit with the batter.
Ah.
If you don't, the fruit will sink.
Okay, that's a great tip.
So if you don't want blueberry muffins where all the blueberries are at the bottom of the tin, that's what you do.
And can you usually just roll the fruit as is in the flour, or do you have to like sprinkle some water on it first?
No, actually, you want it pretty dry, so
Okay.
it doesn't get gummy. You want the flour to be, nice and light. So you rinse your fruit, you dry it off, whip it up in some flour, and just a little tiny bit. Doesn't take much. Then put it in the batter.
Okay. That's a terrific tip, which they don't cover on this show.
I believe some of the contestants were alluding to it
Okay.
as they were cooking. But yeah, there was never any actual confirmation of that. Now, it would be interesting to know if in the UK there are supplemental shows, and I saw one when I was in Scotland, where Paul and Mary make the technical bake.
Oh.
And it's its own thing. It was maybe a 20 or 30-minute show, and they actually cooked the thing that they wanted other people to cook. So they show you how to make it sort of the technical right way. And they do give you tips, It was interesting because in that case, they were cooking a Paul recipe that Mary had never made before. And she was there just, as the enthusiastic student. It was great.
Oh, that's really cool.
It was really wonderful. I don't know if they do that for every show, but if you can get your hands on that, watching Paul and Mary bake together is a hoot.
I'll bet.
It's like watching Julia and Jacques Pepin.
Oh, sure. Oh, wow. That's going back.
Yeah, I love those two together. And Paul and Mary really have that same personable interaction with each other. But very respectful. Very respectful. And now we're in a tent and it's pouring rain.
As it should be.
It must be so difficult, those changing conditions to bake in. Because it completely changes how your bake will come out,
Oh, sure. And I get the impression that there's no climate control in the tent because they've mentioned that it gets either really chilly or really hot and they just have to deal with it.
Well, it's open. I mean, how much can you do, really? Those sides are open.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If open like that, then there's really nothing you can do.
Not really.
Which surprises me because I would think that the production crew or the production company would want to seal it off so that they could sort of normalize the atmosphere in there.
Yeah, maybe it adds that element of surprise and change.
Yeah.
Although it must be hell on the electronics.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Yeah, that's another point.
Yeah. Oh, melon soup. All right, so now we're baking the third challenge, which is done on the second day.
So this is the impress them round,
yes,
right?
This is the showstopper round. So they've been asked to make British classics, but in a miniature size.
Okay.
And they have to make 36 of them, which is a lot. Why do you have to make so many?
So quantity and quality at the same time.
Exactly. Although 36 does seem excessive to me. Thinking back to the very first series of this, which we have seen on, you can find on YouTube, and we saw on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
The cake seems so much more simple and homey. I don't know. When you get to this point, now we're 5 seasons in. Maybe they just have to up the difficulty level.
I would imagine so. And that's probably part of the casting as well. And however many hoops everyone has to jump through before they make it to the final show, it's like, all right, we need to raise the bar a little bit so that, You know, the show shows some progress over the years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and there's Nancy. I love Nancy. Boy, she is
a solid lady.
She is, man. There's some sass going on there too. She is not having it, but not in a mean way. Again, not in a mean way. In that way of a person who's just very confident in who they are and what they can do.
And, you know, she has good presence. She knows how to play to the camera without overdoing it.
Yeah, she does. I'm not quite sure what she's doing these days. I'll have to find out because I think she's terrific. She would be fun on the TV.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, look at those cherries Claire's pouring out, but they are wet.
Now, okay, those are not maraschino cherries because they're way too dark for that.
No, they're not.
So are those just proper natural cherries in a thick sauce?
Yeah, there's like a sugar syrup that they're in.
Okay.
As opposed to maraschino cherries, which are freaky deaky.
Well, they're regular cherries that have been bleached and then they've been soaked in dye and sugar water, right?
Exactly. Yes.
That's disgusting.
They are cherries that have had all their cherryness stripped out and had false cherryness put back in. Ugh. Which is why they come in colors. Why you can get a green maraschino cherry.
It's like some kind of zombie cherry or something.
Oh, it's gross. And here's Jordan.
Whizzing away.
He's making something. Lemon drizzle cakes with a lot going on.
A Genoese cake.
That's a kind of sponge.
Okay.
I don't think that I've ever made one, but there are maybe 3 or 4 different types of sponge, and they vary in the ingredients and the order in which they're put in, basically.
Okay. I mean, does the flavor differ greatly?
The texture differs more, I would say. You know, some are really light and fluffy. Some are a little more dense. I think if you lined them all up, they would basically taste the same, but they would feel different.
Gotcha.
They have different purposes. And yeah, those syringes. What?
Yeah, I don't like them. They're creative, but bleh.
Yeah, that's just gross. No.
I cannot see that without thinking of a doctor's office. Or the laboratory where I used to pipette crushed krill into tubes.
Ew. Well, that would certainly be an interesting meal.
They taste like shrimp, more or less.
Well, it might be fun at a sushi bar, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Squirt your krill on.
Very high in natural fluoride, though, so you don't want to have too much of that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So if I ate a bunch of krill, I would have good teeth?
Presumably.
Well, it says a lot for whales. Of course, the krill eaters don't have teeth.
Yeah, they have baleen. That doesn't help them.
Yeah, well, they're missing out there.
I'm really overdoing it with the marine science references, though. I got to save one for episode 2.
Not overdoing. There's a world of things we can discuss in the marine sciences, as you know.
That's true. That's true.
And here they have to all crawl on the floor and put things in the oven, which I think is hysterical. I think at least a third of this entire show is spent looking at people sitting on the floor.
Which is, hey, that's bacon, I guess. Well, actually, that's a question. How much patience does baking typically take?
I think if you're standing in a tent, it would take a lot of patience because if you're doing it in your house, if I have to cook something for an hour, I'm wandering off and doing something else, right?
Yeah.
I don't have to stand there.
And also, you don't have the pressure of trying to win a reality show.
Well, that's true, too. And here's Weather, who we have not discussed to date, and he's just so kind.
Oh, he is.
He's making Battenbergs, which is just one of my very favorite things of
all right, a Battenberg.
A Battenberg is a cake in quadrants, basically. So it looks like a little checkerboard, a little 4-piece checkerboard, and it has like a marzipan filling in between the layers, and then it's covered in marzipan or fondant, and it's just charming. It always makes me think of a book called Cold Comfort Farm.
Oh.
Which was made into a charming show with Kate Beckinsale and Stephen Fry and everybody else that you've ever seen in British television.
Well, there's only 5 British performers, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Everybody does everything there.
I mean, between the Hobbit movies and Harry Potter, I think they've been very busy.
Pretty much everyone can be employed. If you're British and an actor, you're employed. At the very least, you can come to America and be a villain.
Ain't that the truth?
And here's Mel and Sue fighting over chocolate mousse made by the lovely Diana, who looks like both flattered and also panicked.
Yes, she's like, what just happened?
Oh, Sue Perkins. She is like my hero.
They're so wonderful.
Have you ever seen Supersizers?
No.
Okay.
Tell me.
Sue Perkins and a guy named Giles Corrin did a show where they would go back and dress up in the costumes of a particular era and eat the food that those people would eat. And they did it for like a week. And they would have their health measured before and after to see if there was any effect of, what does it mean to eat like a medieval person for a week?
Yeah.
And Sue is a vegetarian.
Oh, so she did well during the Stone Age era cooking.
She would eat the meat. She did it. I mean, she went out and did exactly what she was supposed to do. But bless her heart, some of the expressions she had were just...
Yeah. That's an interesting premise.
It's a really cool show. It's a fun show. Again, I think it's available on YouTube. And it's totally worth your time because there's a lot of history thrown in, which of course I love. But, just watching them get dressed in these crazy costumes and, it was super fun. Great show.
Huh. How many carbs did people eat during the Cretaceous?
I don't know if they ever did the Cretaceous. I remember Rome.
There probably weren't people during the Cretaceous. That's a point, but...
Rome was a lot of fun. If anyone can find the Rome show, boy, they were eating some crazy stuff. It was good.
Ooh.
And I like the fact that they sort of looked at different classes. What a peasants eat versus the Roman elite. And I think they all agreed that the peasant food was always better.
Oh, yeah. Well, the peasants had to make do with what they had, so you had to get creative.
Exactly. And, no swallows' tongues. What?
What? Do swallows have tongues? How much meat can be on a swallow's tongue?
I think it was the idea that you were rich enough to provide something exotic to your guests, no matter how horrible it was.
Oh, God.
Yeah, well,
Is this how caviar became a thing?
Has time changed? I mean, come on. You've seen some of those sushis. I have too.
It's expensive, therefore it must be good.
Exactly. You know what? Put some gold on it. Now it's better, isn't it? Oh. And now they're counting. So funny.
What a great job to be either the hosts or the judges. You get to sample all this wonderful baking.
They all do so much eating. Well, Mel and Sue. I never see the judges taste anything until it's go time. But yeah, Mel and Sue are like living the dream. Oh, Claire, that did not go well for you.
She's had a tough day.
Yeah, her food was too wet. The minute I saw those cherries, it was like, ooh. How are you gonna make
so what do you
work?
think caused that? Was there too much cherry sauce in the mix, or do you think it was something else?
Just moisture. Well, and here's where weather could have come into play. It's a wet day.
Yeah.
Which did not help her. Oh, Diane, stop being down on yourself. This drives me crazy about her.
She really is. She's very, very self-critical.
Yeah.
Like she expects to get during the judging, it's like she's expecting harsh criticism. And yeah, she has a sort of a hangdog expression. And don't do that. You're wonderful.
Yes, she is wonderful. Oh, their expressions are so cute, though.
And now that looked like they really were down to the wire. But, the part of me in video production wonders how much of that is stage and how much of it is real.
Oh, there's no way for us to know, but I agree.
Yeah.
They don't give them a lot of time, but, the idea that everyone's finishing exactly at the last second, come on, no way.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's Louis in the back who's cleaning his station. He's always done early.
Very efficient man right there.
And super clean, which I appreciate.
No Julia Child.
No.
My God, her kitchens would look like a bomb hit them.
I know. She did not care. Bless her heart. She loved it. It's one of the things I always admired about her. She
Yeah.
cooked with abandon.
Those really do look nice. I want one right now.
I know. But I'm going to totally agree with Paul here. Those are too tall. They should have been 3 tiers.
Okay. Is that because of tradition or because it just looks weird?
Oh, no. I just think they look weird. They
Okay.
look awkward to eat, to me.
Yeah, I guess putting a fork or a spoon through all those layers, and there's not much stability when they're that thin and tall.
Well, and I'm so clumsy. I'm going to say that, to me, getting a dessert like that means an instant I'm going to knock that over, and I hope it lands on the plate. And that's just me.
I've never pegged you as a clumsy person.
Oh, my God.
I mean, you've made costuming wings with meticulousness. That does not suggest a clumsy person.
You haven't seen me wear them. Have you seen me wear them? Yeah, no. There's a reason. Doorways are not my friend.
Oh.
I have permanent bruises from walking into walls, but it's fine.
Really?
I mean, I can't do everything.
I suppose not.
And, I'm kind of padded, so it's cool. It's fine.
Well, if anything, your clumsiness just adds to your charm.
Oh, stop. You have
That's
had
true.
a lot of gin. Oh, and now this is our first appearance of Richard's pencil.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not a euphemism for those playing along at home. He actually keeps a pencil tucked behind his ear, and bless his heart, I love it. It is now his business card.
His pencil is his business card? Literally?
He has a business card pencil, does our Richard. So, yeah, him.
He's got a lot of irons in the fire, it sounds like. He's got that. He's got the cookbook, which you got, right?
I do indeed have Richard's cookbook. I have not made anything out of it yet, but that's on the list for things to do. And, maybe we should film that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
A little video extra for our listeners. Let's make something Richard.
You cook, I will admire.
I love that. And then you can taste it. Falsely praise me. That would be awesome. I love that part.
I doubt I'll have to falsely praise you. I've had your cooking.
You have indeed. So we just passed in Wezzer's judging, and I love one of the things that Mary said. You've given us something we've never seen before. And I love, again, she's praising that, after 80 years of doing this, hey, that's something new, and I think it's pretty neat.
Yeah, and she seems genuinely excited about it all.
Oh, here's Louis' syringes in there. Yeah.
And the pipette. Yeah. Ugh, they look so ugly.
They're not loving that. Oh, here's the...
But apparently they're vindicated because the flavors work.
Well, yeah, but I bet he gets points off for presentation.
How else could he have done that?
Those cakes?
No, the pipettes. Instead of the pipettes, what kind of better looking thing could he have used to deliver that essence that he put on them?
If it were me, maybe a shot glass.
Okay.
Or, maybe especially those shot glasses that are quite skinny and tall. I think that could be kind of elegant. Then you just pour it on.
Yeah.
The syringes were just creepy.
Yeah.
And here's the lovely Martha, who has put time in cake, and I love it. Well done putting a savory in there.
Very creative, it seems to me.
It is, and as a person who doesn't really like particularly sweet things, the idea that you would put a savory herb in a cake is wonderful. I think that's just brilliant. Well done, her. And they love it. They are loving it.
She's I'm going to use this word again. She's delightful.
She is. Oh, bless her heart. Just want to buy her a balloon, pat her on the head.
And now with Claire's, you can see the presentation is more like season 1 presentation, or
It's like a child's birthday party gone wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. Not good. And she knows it.
Yeah. Aww.
Oh, I feel bad for her, though.
Yeah.
Because I guess it's a testament to the people. You're not rooting against anybody.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to see anybody go.
I want everyone to do well all the time in every single thing. And when they do badly, it's like, oh, ouch. And here's Nancy's perfection, which is just...
they look so nice.
Oof, she's not messing around. She knows it.
And the verdict.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's how you be a competitor. You know, she is fierce, but not mean.
Yes. She's confident without crossing the line into cocky.
Exactly. She wants it. You can tell she wants it. But not at the expense of being a bad person. Or,
Yeah.
Or sandbagging anybody else. Now, the way this show is designed, there really isn't that opportunity to sandbag somebody, you know? I mean, there are a few instances in the seasons where things happen, but they're so obviously accidents.
Right. You can't deliberately sabotage anything that anyone else is doing.
No one's ingredients get stolen. Nobody gets stabbed in the neck with a fork by accident. You know?
Yeah.
You know, you're pretty much, it's you versus the challenge that you set yourself.
Yes. It's not designed to let people be sinister.
No. Which is wonderful. Because there's no reason for that. You don't need that.
Yeah, that's just a different kind of show. I wonder how long they typically deliberate. I know in some cases it's longer than others, but you know, I wonder if they go in, like in this case, if they pretty much knew who they were going to knock out.
Good question. I don't know. I mean, tasting things is so subjective in a way. I mean, you can see that some things look better than others, but you know, there is a level of subjectivity here that would, I think, engender some pretty complicated conversations. Now, in this case, in this particular episode, Claire was a disaster.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any doubt she was going home. Oops, sorry, spoiler alert.
Oops.
I'll just say Claire's a disaster. Oh, and there's a black lamb. Because, you know, nothing says a British baking show like tiny lambs frolicking in the rain.
And there's our profanity bleep if we need one.
Oh, did I say something bad?
No. I mean, you mentioned that in the intro that we could just use the bleating of a lamb to cover up any naughty words.
Oh, you're right. Well, we'll hang on to that.
Yeah. And I really like the way this is all staged.
Yeah. Agree. And I like the fact that the hosts trade that every week.
Yes. Because
it doesn't make the good cop, bad cop thing exist, you know. Both hosts are nice, and they are meant to be nice. They are meant to be supportive. Mm-hmm. And not making one the bearer of bad news all the time, I think really reinforces that.
And every episode has a winner. It's not just, you're getting voted off the island because you suck. It's like there's a positive and a negative in every one of them.
Yeah, totally agree. Oh, and it is in fact Claire, which I've already spoiled for you.
Yeah, but they break the news so gently and so lovingly.
Yes, and then she gets a Milsou sandwich, which I'm just going to say, if I ever get one, I'll be the happiest person on earth.
Oh, that's worth losing for right there.
They could auction that off.
Ah, yeah.
I'd pay good money for that. Oh, and there's hugs all around, and everybody loves everybody.
Yeah, and Mary has the sweetest thing to say. She's like, who could have taken that better? Like, perfect thing to say.
And there's their judgment. She's a good baker. She just had a bad weekend. You know, not that, she was awful, and we're just so happy to be gone.
Yeah. It's a very, very fair assessment.
It is, and they're right. I mean, in this context, she just had to go. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, I guess Jordan was pretty close to getting cut as well.
I think Ian was probably pretty close. If it had been me in the deliberation room, those three would have been the ones on the block.
Yeah.
Look at that beard, though. Oof.
It's epic.
I'd keep that around at least another week just to look at.
Oh, gosh, yes.
You know, that's wrong of me to say, but I'm going to say it.
That's okay. That's a fair statement. He dresses well, too.
Yeah.
And there we go. There's Nancy, acknowledging that she did well, but she was not cocky about it. She was just, stating a fact. And, I love the motion graphics that they do throughout the episode with the book and the beautiful little illustrations.
Oh,
and
lovely. And here we are at the end.
Yeah, more gorgeous depth of field.
And I'm just going to stop my video right now because it's already trying to play me the next episode. But In fact, we're just going to deal with one this time.
Every episode makes me do that at the end. I go, that was nice.
That was refreshing.
Yeah.
Can I just say, we're recording this a week out from the American election, and boy, do we need some refreshment right now.
Yeah, we might need to do a marathon after the election.
I would be down with that because, wow, it's nice to see people be nice to each other, which I think, let's be honest, is the appeal of a show that has come along at a time in the last 7 years where politically, not just in the United States, but certainly in the Western world, and I think globally, have gotten uglier and uglier.
It seems that way. I wonder if that's actually true. Like, if we were to survey all of history, I wonder if it's actually the case where things have gotten uglier or if it's just business as usual.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Joel, you and I are both in our 40s. I mean, can you think back to the 90s? And I don't remember things being like this. I don't remember the viciousness of it. And, maybe that's rose-colored glasses, but I don't know.
Have you seen some of the campaign speeches from the elections in the U.S. from the 1800s? They were worse. They were worse than anything we've heard today.
But we didn't have social media. We didn't have the internet. It wasn't something you experienced 24 hours a day.
And I think that's the difference. Not that humanity's gotten meaner. It's just we're aware of more of it now.
That may be true. You may be absolutely right about that. It's just, but I think that awareness and the ability to have these echo chambers where people can scream, where they might have kept that to themselves in the past, because why wouldn't you? There was nowhere to go with that.
Yeah.
If the sentiments aren't worse, the noise is definitely louder to me.
That's a fair point.
It's a kind of exhausting, really. But here we are with watching beautiful people bake.
Absolutely. We have a tonic for all of that right here.
Tiny tonic to go with my tonic, and I love that part.
Well said. Well said. Well, that was a lot of fun.
Well, that was. This. I hope everyone listening enjoyed that and will share their own observations of the show. When we reconvene, we will be watching episode 2, which will be entitled Biscuits. For those Americans who don't know, that means cookies.
That's right. And we'll have a whole episode of them. Normally not something I get excited about, except it's this show. So yeah, I am.
And I will say that biscuits includes things that aren't sweet. So, for those of you more savory-minded, this will be the episode for you. So that brings us to the conclusion of episode 1. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you'll tune in when we rejoin the Great British Baking Show.
Absolutely. Goodbye, everybody, and good night, Sharon.
Good night, Joel.